Hey guys and girls, it's Nathan here from Be Decentralized, and just wanted to catch up and to talk a little bit about EOS, seeing that it's EOS's big week this week. As of the 1st of June, we will be heading into the mainnet launch of EOS. For those of you that aren't too familiar with that, I think everyone's sort of familiar with that. However, lots of exciting things. I said I'd be talking about, EOS, what it can do, answering questions that you guys may have, etc., over the course of the next few days. Today, I wanted to talk a bit about some of the reasons of why EOS could go up astronomically in price, as well as what could be the challenges for it. So let's look at the negatives to start off with. There's not many of them that I can think of when it comes to EOS. However, like most projects, when a new coin comes out on the market, when something big happens, a lot of people buy on the rumor and sell on the news. So generally when stuff like this happens, things can sometimes be oversold, so everyone starts dumping after the specific date. However, it's important to be a part of the Genesis block. The Genesis block will be where most of the snapshots will be taken from in order for the EOS airdrops to come into place. So, and that takes me on to where could the value go, come June the 1st or June the 2nd, so on and so forth. One thing that I am trying to get my hands onto is a wallet, like a EOS wallet. I don't believe there's any that are full active working out there at the moment. However, I've checked the private keys, everything's done with my registration. I broke it up into a few different wallets just to ensure that if something went wrong on one of the wallets, it's minimizing risk. However, it just all comes down to how many coins do you have, how tech savvy are you, etc. But some of the things that I see happening after the June the 1st, there's lots of cool projects. I've been in talks with a lot of people in the community of EOS, listening to their projects, the things that they're actually planning to launch on the mainnet after June the 1st. I think it might take a couple of weeks or months, if that may be, in order for so I just got a couple of keys and stuff. It might take a couple of weeks or months for the actual projects to start coming live, just given the fact that there's a lot of teething issues and stuff like that when the tech comes out, because people haven't got full access to it all at the moment. However, some of the cool things that I see happening once the mainnet comes out is airdrops. That's probably the biggest thing and the most exciting thing that most can see at this point in time, is getting free airdrops. So how could you value an airdrop? Let's say, for instance, where could the value of the coin come from? We already know that there's 20 plus that have been talked about coming out on June 1st or soon after June 1st. However, there's probably another couple of dozen which will launch from that Genesis block. For me personally, I don't like giving away my private keys, so I won't be taking part in any of the tokens or the airdrops that you have to provide your private keys to. I'll only be taking part on the ones where you only have to supply your public keys. So let's assume that you get 20 free tokens and they're all worth $1 each. That's $20 worth of dividends if people have a view of, where I can get $20 worth of free tokens on my EOS token. People start buying them up. It could push the price of EOS, even if it was a 20% return or a 10% return, it could go up in the three-figure territory, which I don't think will take too long. And once again, as always with my videos, I'm not your financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. EOS is not a financial asset. It's purely just a bit of software that the lucky people that are currently holding those tokens and will hold those tokens throughout June the 1st will have the benefit of reaping the rewards. So, I see the price, being determined on the market and the things that you actually get from EOS and from holding the tokens. I think that the EOS tokens are going to be very, very valuable to those that are actually holding on to them at this point in time. The other aspect that I look at is currently in the marketplace. If you wanted to run any sort of projects out, if you wanted to use Bitcoin to go and buy a coffee, if you're at the shops waiting for your food, or go to the supermarket trying to pay for your bills, it would be a pretty slow process to use something like Bitcoin to do a transaction. Everything that's out there is very, very slow at this point in time, where EOS really comes in to solve those issues. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're only in like the 10 transactions per second or whatever it is. However, EOS is scalable to, I think it's coming out on the main net at, I think, 10,000 or 100,000 transactions per second, scalable all the way up to 1 million transactions per second, even further than that, as well as being able to have parallel layers attached to it. So it's basically infinite amounts of transactions, which would mean if you wanted to take your phone and do PayPass or whatever, somewhere, or PayWave, you could pretty much do that transaction instantaneously. So one of the projects that I'm working on personally myself will be a payment solution out there, but there's a few other projects that I know people that are working on close to me. It's going to be very, very exciting times out there for the remainder of 2018 and 2019, especially given the fact of what's happening out there in the economy at the moment and the financial markets. We have got the GFD, which is the Global Financial Depression, GFC 2.0, whatever you wish to call it, right on the cusp of time of where we are at the moment. So this is something that, Dan Lammer and Brendan Bloomer and the guys from Block One have been very, very, smart with the way that they've delivered this project. It has been delivered in a way that no other project has ever been put out in the marketplace. It's been delivered in a way where, in effect, they've created the software and they're leaving it up for the community. They've created a community, created the software, and throwing it out for everyone else to go and take to market. So it's a people's sort of program or platform out there for us to work with. The other thing, and this is the final thing that I want to touch on, and this is on the price front. If you guys remember going back in, I think it was December 2017, when Bitcoin Cash got listed on Coinbase. Coinbase listed Bitcoin Cash, and the price of Bitcoin Cash on the day, I think, went up to about $6,000 or $7,000 US. For us here in Australia, it was about $7,500 or something at one point. Actually, I think it hit $9,000 on Coinbase at one point. It went straight through the roof, and that's just simply because people were getting their Bitcoin Cash, and those that only use Coinbase were trading in their Bitcoin Cash and all that sort of stuff, and people wanting to buy it. But what we've got to realize is that the way that the ICO has been conducted in a way in which, it's sort of outside of the parameters of the law. If Bitcoin had an office, if Bitcoin had staff, there was things called e-gold back in the 1990s, which served in a way very similar to what cryptocurrencies do today. And that was a good prime example of what would happen to someone that would create some software like this, because they were charged, done for money laundering, all those sorts of things. And looking at, what happened in the past, if Bitcoin was a business, it would be closed down, it would be raided, the directors and staff would probably be arrested, and all that sort of stuff. So, in essence, what has gone on here is this is very, very revolutionary sort of software, and if someone wants to call it an asset, once again, I'm not your financial advisor, but if you wanted to class it as an asset, it is a very, very powerful tool to be able to use against the slavery and the system that we're born into. So, looking on that front, the way that it has been, in essence, like a lot of people have been asking me, how does the EOS token convert, just in layman terms and stuff like that? In essence, imagine you had a pistachio, you had a little nut, and you had the shell that you had to crack open. When you say you got two bowls, you got the Ethereum bowl and you've got the EOS bowl. What's going to happen on June the 1st is that these little nuts are going to get cracked open. The nut is going to be put in the EOS bowl, and the shell is just going to be left in the Ethereum bowl. Those shells are going to be worthless. I think they're being frozen on the ERC20 network. And you'll be in possession of a brand new token which hasn't been existed. Basically, what you have invested into to buy the EOS tokens up until this point is just a right to get access to that token. There's a promise note to it. There's no guarantee that you'll get anything from it, and that's what a lot of people have been scared by. People that are looking too far deep into the terms and conditions on the EOS.io website, and so on and so forth. So there's been a lot of people that have been calling it a scam or been calling it, fake or whatever you want to call it. It's going to come to fruition to being true, or hopefully it is. None of us can guarantee what's going to happen to anything on crypto world, but I'm very confident that we're going to see our EOS tokens come to fruition come June the 1st, June the 2nd, just depending on where you're at in the world. However, there's currently no listings of EOS in China or in the US. So basically, 2/3 of the world's markets haven't got access to buy these tokens. If you go to Bittrex, Coinbase, any of the US exchanges or any of the China exchanges, they're not actually listed on there. So another aspect of this coin going up in substantial value is once we've got the airdrops coming out, we've got the mainnet coming to fruition, we've got people's minds being put at ease that they will be, not buying into a scam if that's their fear. We will have a totally new marketplace, being the US and the China market. So in essence, there's a lot of upside to EOS. Obviously, buy with caution. Crypto is a very volatile market. As always say, I'm not your financial advisor, and none of this is financial advice. I know myself, I got into EOS very early when no one knew about it, or when there wasn't any videos on YouTube, no blogs about it or anything like that. I saw the parameters of what this software could do and what it could open up to humanity, and the benefits that we could have for a more freer, more prosperous society. And I've been in EOS since it was $2. I think it started off at $6 or something, went down to $2, went all the way down to 60 cents. I think it was down at 45 cents at one point, US. And I picked up my holdings, majority of it less than $1 per coin. But should you be loading up and putting all your life savings in it at the moment? That's a total decision on your behalf. Does it have upside? I think it's got tremendous upside, but just remember that it's already had 20 times upside to get to where it is today as well. So if it goes up another 10 times and you've made 20 times upside, that's going to be 200 times growth that you've seen on it. If you're getting in on it now, you might see a 10x if it goes up 10 times. So, all those things in mind, I think that the next few days will be very interesting for all you EOS holders. And I think that over the course of the next 12 to 24 months, we're going to see some really awesome things created. And I guess blockchain being able to free its wings and spread its wings and go and achieve all the awesome things that it's got the capabilities of doing, but it has been restrained from because the actual platforms have been unable to take it the full distance. So on that note, guys, I'm going to catch up with you tomorrow. I'll be talking about something else on EOS. And if you have any questions that you want me to answer, pop it into the description or reach out to our Facebook page at facebook.com/BDecentralized, BDECENTRALISED. So look forward to catching up with you soon. And thanks for having me as a part of your evening.